So, let's talk about the characters in Ego Death. Coming up next is going to be a reading of the full script, but today we're just going to get right into the characters in Ego Death. We're going to go through every single one of them. If you're interested in learning more about Ego Death, I did post a video last week about the plot summary of Ego Death and a little bit of my plans for it. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll put the link in the description below. The Ego Death trailer is out now on ROKU TV. And I'd really love for you to check it out if you have some time. Today we're just going to be going over the characters in Ego Death, so stick around for that. First off, let's go over our main character, Victor Van Vellaseff, who I played in the trailer, but in real life. So I imagine Heath Ledger-esque. I'm picturing Joaquin Phoenix, Jared Leto, Maddie Healy, Bill Skarsgård, or Matt King. He's male, 44. Very slim, unnaturally vivid, long, shaggy red-haired like this. He is a closeted queer and bisexual artist. He was also raised by his mother, Diamond Way, who passed away, unfortunately, in a boating accident when he was 14 years old. And this had a very long-lasting impact on the character of Victor Van Vellaseff. We will need actors to play different ages for Vellaseff. We see him as a newborn. We also see him when he's 6, 10, 14, 18, 20, 24, 30, 38, and 40. So we will be needing some other actors to play the younger ages of Vellaseff, or just some very advanced CGI and aging makeup capabilities. So Vellaseff illegally immigrated to a wealthier country when he was 14 after the death of his mother, and he worked as a mortician for most of his adult life after earning his PhD in hematology in only 4 years, so he's very smart. He is explosively strange and perhaps deranged and emotionally repressed as well. And he also did go through a period when he was in a mental hospital when he was younger. Vellaseff's spirit is another character, and the way we animate or / CGI a spirit would be, I honestly pictured the Ghosts of Hogwarts from the Harry Potter film franchise. You know how they kind of like fly around and they're also like transparent? That's kind of how I picture the spirits to be. And Messiah also is a spirit as well, so he is transparent, you can see through him. But when he goes into the body of Vellaseff, the main character, he becomes Vellaseff, and like Vellaseff's face kind of changes a little bit to look more like Messiah's face. And I imagine Messiah to be played by Jamie Campbell Bower, Tom Hiddleston, Ryan Gosling. He's very majestic, with chiseled cheekbones, muscular, alluring. He's also Vellaseff's lover. That is another sort of subtextual thing. But yeah, that is what Messiah looks like. He's very handsome. Now for Diamond Way. This is Vellaseff's mother, who unfortunately passed away when he was 14. She's female, 35, blue eyes, blonde hair, pale skin, curvaceous, beautiful, wearing diamond earrings, diamond rings, and a diamond wave necklace. Has an eloquent style, but is perhaps wearing too much jewelry. An unmarried prostitute who raises her sole child, Vaughn That Way, which was Vellaseff's previous name, in the cat house. We are raised to bleed. We are raised to beat our enemies. We are born to breed, and we follow the leader. But you know, he's never had our feet. That's Diamond Way's philosophy that she teaches to Vellaseff shortly before she passes away. And I imagine her being played either by Emily Osment, Amali Stormer, who did play Diamond Way in the trailer, and she did a terrific job, or Meghan Trainor. I know she's not an actress, but that is actually, her look is like exactly how I imagined Diamond Way to look, just like very beautiful, kind of like Cinderella-esque. And next character is Dyke / Mike. He changes his name. He's 18, non-binary, thin, short, long, spiky brown hair, green eyes, effeminate, 18, male or female. I'm not picky. Just someone who can play a non-binary character. Thin, short, long, spiky brown hair, green eyes, and effeminate. And I imagine someone like Troye Sivan, Elliot Page, Finn Wolfhard, Georgie Farmer, Percy Hines White, or Alex Lawther to be perfect candidates for the character of Dyke/Mike. And Dyke is one of these characters who goes through a suppressing of sexuality throughout the feature, and an actor who can relate to that experience perhaps would be best suited to play this character, because he doesn't have a whole lot of lines, but his expressions kind of betray the way he's feeling at times. Next is Sarah. Sarah is Velaseff's wife. She's female, 40, 5 foot, dirty blonde hair, and she's a lawyer who makes more money than Vellaseff. And they met in a bar when Vellaseff was traumatized from working as a mortician in the morgue, and he's drinking a lot because he's so sad, and he meets Sarah, who's also a heavy drinker, and they get married. And I imagine an actress like Miley Cyrus or Maggie Lawson or even Emily Osment to play Sarah. She's kind of, as a character, she's fine as a character, but her whole relationship with Vellaseff is a little bit, not great. They're not super compatible, because Vellaseff is this, queer, artist, sort of, and she's a very, just dry as a character and perhaps as a person. She doesn't really like to do the fun things that Vellaseff likes to do. Another thing about Sarah, and for the actress who plays Sarah, she needs to be comfortable killing herself, because Sarah does quite suddenly pick up a gun and shoot herself in the head, dead. And it's kind of abrupt. I know not all actors are comfortable with faking their own deaths, but Sarah does kill herself. Just wanted to say that. The actress will have to shoot herself in the head. Now for Delphina. Delphina is Sarah's and Velaseff's daughter. And Delphina is female, lanky, 18, with very long and unnaturally vivid red hair. And we also need someone to play a 6-year-old Delphina and a 14-year-old Delphina. And I imagine an actress like Anastasia Rousseau or Amy Donald to play Delphina, although any talented young actress would be perfect for this role. She does have characteristics just like Vellaseff. She inherited his crazy red hair gene, and she also likes to do the fun things like dance and sing, and Sarah doesn't really approve of that, and doesn't really approve of Vellaseff dancing or singing either, so both Delphina and Vellaseff are on the more repressed side. And Delphina does die as well. She is shot to death by the sheriff and becomes a tornado. So we'll get into that. That's in the script. But she does become she dies, bullets to her head, and she becomes a tornado. So, yeah. Next up is Rob. Rob is actually a robber. He steals Velaseff's clothes in the dead of night and later comes back as a traveler looking for spiritual redemption. And Messiah, in the body of Vellaseff, notices that this is the same thief that stole his clothes in the dead of night. And Rob is kind of a mean character, or he looks like a mean character. He isn't really outwardly mean, he does steal, but I imagine someone who looks kind of mean to play Rob. He's male, 40, with an average build, graying brown hair, blue darting eyes, weaselly face, and speaks with a lisp as well. That's key. He speaks with a lisp. I imagine someone like James Roday, Ryan Reynolds, or Danny DeVito to play Rob. And I said Ryan Reynolds, I think he might be too attractive to play Rob, though, because Rob is this kind of this ugly character, and I believe he gets thrown on top of a fire is how he dies. Victor is a character that Vellaseff has a crush on, but that isn't really explored too deeply. He's a character that Vellaseff meets in the mental hospital. Victor is male, mid-30s, mixed race, balding, dark brown hair, bearded, slender, pale blue eyes, 5'8", and thick-rimmed glasses. He may have a personality disorder of some sort, but he's on medication. He seems a little bit distant sometimes, kind of staring off into space. But he's a fine character. He's not. A lot of these characters from now on, they don't have a whole lot of lines. They're just there a lot. And they do have lines, but Vellaseff really has a lot of lines. A lot of it is monologue. He's just talking, and there's not too much dialogue between repeated characters, except for Messiah, Dyke, Diamond Way. All these characters from now on kind of just have a couple of scenes with Vellaseff, not a whole lot of lines. I imagine someone like Haz Slyman, Tom Franco, Santiago Cabrera to play Victor. Now for Carly, another person that Victor meets in the mental hospital. Carly is 19, she's white with light brown hair, with bangs, green eyes, and a cute voice. She speaks with this, really cute voice, and she is probably most likely autistic. We don't really find out, but she is in a mental hospital for some reason. She seems like she might have a rage disorder of some sort. She punches a hole through the wall, and that's how she meets Vellaseff, who's on the other side of the wall in the mental asylum. I imagine someone like Ivy Wolk or Carly Fleischman would play Carly. She does have this very unique, I want to say autistic look, but I know that's probably not an accurate way to describe someone, but she does have this sort of stereotypical autistic look, and so does Hedvan, who's our next character. Another character that Vellaseff meets in the mental hospital. He's 20, male, white, chubby. He has blue eyes, blonde hair, rosy cheeks, and is autistic. He is much more on the spectrum than Carly is. He has a lot of, let's just say, behavioral issues, and it's pretty obvious why he's in the mental hospital. But the way that the nurses and the psychiatrists and the doctors treat him is just not how he should be treated. He has this beautiful heart, and he's just constantly mistreated by society. His situation is quite sad, to be honest. His head falls off, fried like a fillet, and his head just falls right off. So we will need some CGI for that when his head falls off and starts steaming on the floor. So we also need a 14-year-old Hedvan as well, who is also autistic, chubby, blonde hair, rosy cheeks. Next is Dr. I Despise, to be played by either Angelina Jolie, Tina Fey, Winona Ryder, Juliette Lewis, Ricki Lindholm, or Imelda Staunton. She's white, 40, shoulder-length dark brown hair, blue eyes, thin nose, slender, dressed in all black. And her philosophy is, we're born to bleed. We're born to beat our enemies. We're raised to breed, and we need to be leaders in order to lead the psychotic inbreeders. And that's exactly who she is. She is a doctor. She's this weaselly character in the corner, scribbling down every nasty thought she has about Vellaseff and all her patients that come by her. She puts thoughts into Vellaseff's head. She asks him, so, why are you here? And she's like, I don't know. And she's like, do you see demons? Do you feel like a droid is controlling your soul? Do you feel like worms are living under your skin? Vellaseff thinks that's funny, and he says yes, and because of that, she puts him on a lot of medications, but he was just being what he thought was funny. He's not from this wealthy country of the USS. He's this poor boy, just 18, and let's be clear, Dr. I Despise is a villain in this movie. She is quite dark, and we'll read the script and you'll see. Now, Runaway Rummy, he's a scarred, middle-aged soldier. I imagine someone like Maddie Healy or Machine Gun Kelly to play Runaway Remy. So what's significant about Runaway Remy is that he ran away from war. He faked death. He just lied face down on the battlefield while the rest of his troop was annihilated. And he gets up and he sees just this pile of bodies, and he eventually fakes an illness and is sent home. And when he gets back to to his house. He's, by society called a coward, and his wife leaves him. Runaway Remy's wife, who's a middle-aged woman, and wife of Runaway Remy and mother of Dyke/Mike. And after Runaway Remy comes home, Runaway Remy's wife is completely distraught. She actually leaves him and goes to a bar. I imagine someone like Gabrielle Bechtel or Helena Bonham Carter to play Runaway Remy's wife. Mrs. Polo is a teacher. She is also a villain. She's white, 30, and has short brown hair, brown eyes. She's thin and also impatient. And she's Headvan's teacher when he was 14, and she's just, she has no time for the kids. She'd rather have them all on stimulants than actually sit down with each of them and teach. And why? It's because she doesn't really have a whole lot of time of her own. She's underpaid as a teacher, and is just kind of fed up with, teaching. She just watches the clock every single day, watching it, steal her precious time away. She's not a good teacher. I imagine someone like Juliette Lewis, Rachel Leigh Cook, or Chelsea Kane to play Mrs. Polo. Now, the enemy soldier, mid-20s, young, I could definitely see E.J. Ward, Finn Wolfhard, or Jaden Smith playing the enemy soldier. And he basically is shot on the battlefield by Vellaseff. Vellaseff shoots him. But we don't see or hear the shot, really. But the enemy soldier gets up after he's been shot to death as a spirit. He rises from his body as a spirit, and he asks Vellaseff why he pulled the trigger. Because actually Vellaseff and the enemy soldier are on the same side of the war. If you take Vellaseff from his home country, remember, Vellaseff immigrated to the USS, but he's actually from the country of the enemy soldier, so actually they're technically on the same side, and yet Vellaseff, who's drafted into war, just shoots this man. And he doesn't even want to be in this war to begin with, but that's what he was trained to do. And so he shoots his own brother, is what it seems, and this causes a significant toll on Vellaseff as a character. After he shoots the enemy soldier, he feels his spirit come inside his body, and he's like, oh, there was so much time left for the enemy soldier. There's so much time left. He might have a family, and all this, and that life is gone. That life is just gone. Next up is Lyndhurst. Male, 20s, black, 5'6", warm brown eyes, pearly white smile, jovial, and pot-bellied. I imagine Lamorne Morris or Dule Hill to play Lyndhurst. And at the end of the script, Lyndhurst is waiting for Vellaseff in a swamp. There's, you'll have to read the script, but he kind of helps Vellaseff realize who he is at the end of the day, and he's also a skeptic. We will be learning more about Lyndhurst when we read the script. The Justice, white, mid-50s, curly auburn hair, brown eyes, scruffy, wrinkled, wearing black judicial robes, glasses, and a golden ring. I imagine someone like William Houston, Kurt Fuller, or Woody Harrelson to be perfect for the role of Justice. Next, for Nurse Bliss, a curvaceous bombshell blonde wearing a sleek black collared dress with a red cross symbol on the front, orange high heels, fire orange lipstick, and fiery eyeshadow as well. She's known for her sex appeal around the mental hospital. All the male inpatients have a crush on Nurse Bliss. I imagine someone like Meghan Trainor, Madeline Petch, or Billie Piper to be perfect for the role of Nurse Bliss. Next is Preacher Bing. He's a middle-aged, black-haired man wearing a pompous violet suit and a large diamond ring. I can imagine someone like Timothy O'Munson, Johnny Depp, or Robert Carlyle being perfect to play him. Next up is the hospital nurse. She is female, young, slim, perky, with curly, shoulder-length, dark brown or red hair, red lipstick, wearing a skimpy red and white nurse uniform, white gloves, and red high heels. I can imagine someone like Madeline Petch, Ashley Murray, or Naomi Yimer to play the hospital nurse. Next, for the USS bus driver, he's obese and barely fits into the bus driver's seat. I can see Chris Pratt in a fat suit definitely being perfect for this role. Next up is Barb Dwyer, She's 20 to 60. She's a female journalist / news anchor. I can see Rikki Lindholm, Amy Nuttall, or Winona Ryder being perfect for this role. Next up is the prophet Elijah. He's male and stick thin. No other descriptors, I'm not picky. I can see Robert Carlyle or Sting being perfect for this role. Next up, Sheriff Claw. He's a 40 to 60-year-old man with black hair, intimidating, and he's bearded and overweight as well. He's a sheriff, and he's the one who shoots Delphina, actually. Timothy O'Munson or Tommy Earl Jenkins would be perfect for this role. Any man who just looks intimidating, you know? Next up is Mandy Magic. She's 5'8", she's thin, with long, floor-length blonde hair with a daisy, piercing blue eyes, well-endowed, and late 30s to early 40s. And we also need a 20-year-old Mandy Magic as well, but she looks basically the same. I can see someone like Mackenzie Olsen, Amber Lynn, or Colleen Shannon being perfect for this role. Next up, Shelley Sandy. She's 5'6", long-haired brunette with blonde highlights. She has large brown eyes, a violet in her hair, and she's curvy as well. Amy Carrero or Camila Mendes would be perfect for this role. She's also Mandy Magic's younger sister, by the way. Next up is Dick. He's male, 35, with brown hair, brown eyes, broad-shouldered, 5'4". He's got a wide, mean, hard face. He's a dick to people. I can see Orlando Bloom, Bern Gorman, or Michael Pena being great for this role. Next up is Professor Vellaseff. He's middle-aged, white, with silver hair, brown eyes, and he's thin as well. He was actually inspired by my film teacher from high school, Drew Marvin, so I can see him being perfect for this role. Or Sting. They both kind of look similar. Next up is the military hospital nurse. She's got red hair, she's female, dressed in a skimpy nurse uniform. I can see Madeline Petch or Naomi Yimer being perfect for this role. Next up, Officer Cerdo. He's male, hefty, and ugly. Corbin Burnson or Michael Pena would be perfect for this role. He's a force police officer, by the way. Not a police force officer, he's a force police officer. Next up, Neighbor Mom. She's brunette, bony, with an upturned nose. Ashley Murray or Anne Hathaway would be perfect for this role. Next up is Ace. He's another traveler. He's male, 20s, tall, very thin, with long blonde hair. Charlie Plummer or Percy Hines White would be perfect for this role. Next up, Slob Anderson. He's Velaseff's roommate when he moves to the USS. He's male, middle-aged, white, overweight, long-haired, unshaven, and greasy. I can see Jack Black or Bob Anderson being perfect for this role, and only Bob Anderson because his name is Slob Anderson, and I just think that would be funny. Because he's a slob, he's an absolute slob. Vellaseff just lives there because he's pretty broke. Next up is Cab, another traveler. He's male, in his 30s, hefty build with brown eyes, and he's bald as well. Luis Guzman or DJ Khaled would be perfect for this role. Next up is Tom. He's male, 50, Italian, overweight, bald brown eyes with a white stubbled face. He's also another traveler. Michael Keaton or Corbin Burnson would be perfect for this role. Next up for the Sailing Man. He's got long hair, he's bearded with sunken and kind blue eyes. He rescues 14-year-old Vellaseff after the boating accident which killed his mother. I can see Mark Knopfler, Roger Waters, David Gilmour, or Bob Geldof being perfect for this role. Someone who knows how to play guitar or who can act like they can play guitar because he's actually a really cool character. I really like the Sailing Man because he just comes like out from the mist, he rescues Vellaseff, he gives him a glass of limoncello and plays his guitar. And as they're floating back to land, and rescues Vellaseff and just doesn't ask any questions, just waves him on his way. Next up is Emily. She's actually a hooker. She's 5'10", brunette, and lean. Amy Carrero or Mila Kunis, I hope I'm saying that right, would be perfect for this role. Officer Bacon is male, overweight, with a stubbled face. Luis Guzman or Fred Armisen would be perfect for this role. Next up, Megan. She's female, 17, long light brown hair, and green eyes. Emma Myers or Jessica Barden would be perfect for this role. Anne is 20 to 40, she's got gold or red hair, and she's thin. And I can see Anne Hathaway playing this character. Yeah, she's just another one of these widows who comes to Velaseff's party. Next up is the teen boy. He's 16 years old with mousy brown hair, freckles, tall and thin. I can imagine Musa Mustafa being perfect for this role. He's got that sort of look I'm looking for. Benjamin Franklin is also in this script as himself during his kite flying experiment. I can see a Ben Franklin impersonator playing this role very well. Hedvan's mom, she has brown hair, she's chubby with blue eyes. She can also have blonde hair. I can see Courtney Love, Stevie Nicks, or Kayla Cromer being perfect for this role. Hedvan's dad has blonde hair, he's chubby with blue eyes. Woody Harrelson would be good for this role. And Cynthia, I don't even know if she has more than 5 seconds of screen time. I'm not entirely sure. She's kind of one of these intense side characters. She hardly is ever in the movie. But she's female, blonde, and early 20s. She's the daughter of Runaway Remy and also sister of Dyke. Kaylee Cromer or Ruby Lennox would be perfect for this role. Next up is Prostitute. She's female with 80s styled, permed, and outrageous hair. Helena Bonham Carter definitely has this haircut, at least in this picture, and I think she would be perfect for this role, if she has that haircut. And then we have a bunch of animated characters. So we've gone through all the specific characters. Now I'm just going to name all the extras we need. We need 10 widows, all female, dressed in all black. We need 10 doctors, all male, dressed in white lab coats. We need 10 nurses, all female, overtly sexualized, dressed in skimpy uniforms and high heels. We need 3 security guards, which are all hefty men. We need 8 orderlies, all male, dressed in white orderly uniforms. We need 15 force police officers, overweight men and women in force police uniforms, driving force police cars and motorcycles. We need a church congregation, consisting of multiple generations. We need 30 mental living prison inmates. So these are all the psychos that are locked up with Vellaseff. 18 through 60, all male, with disabilities and mental illnesses. We also need 10 female prostitutes, 20 to 50 years old, all female, curvy, beautiful, heavy makeup, and Victorian-style dresses. We also need at least 20 soldiers. At least. Definitely I'm thinking more. All male, various ages and races, and with specific uniforms. We also need a church choir, children and adolescents, dressed in white robes. We also require USS university professors and college students at a university campus, dressed in professional and preppy attire. We also need morticians and morgue staffers, 30 through 70, wearing morgue uniforms. We also need 3 movers/evictors, all male, wearing movers uniforms. They throw all of Velaseff's belongings into a truck. We need partiers and clubgoers, young men, women, and teens dressed in party attire. We also need 2 dogs. 2 Bloodhound Basset Hound dogs. Both female. They're called Diamond and Emily. So we need some Bloodhound Basset mixes. Or they could be CGI. We also need extras for crowds and small roles, all weights, ages, and genders. And now, let's get into the voice actors and the animated characters. So all the rest of these characters, they don't have any, physical screen time. We're gonna animate all these in. So for the narrator, he's male. He's got a booming and deep bass voice frequency. Keon J. Edwards would be perfect for this role. Sir Belfin is an animated bumblebee. He's male. He's got a German accent, and he also wears a top hat. Kurt Vogelberger voiced him in the trailer, and he did a perfect job. I would definitely recommend him, but anyone who can do a German accent really well, definitely I'd encourage you to audition for Sir Belfin. Next is Lightning. She's an animated bolt of lightning with a booming female voice. We've got the Yellow Evening Primrose. a yellow evening primrose. Speaks with a wise and deeply knowing female voice. Next up is an oh my. The oh my is a representation of one's greatest fears. For Vellaseff, it is a pair of animated walking/swimming wings, like bird wings. And the oh my speaks with a light-hearted and playful woman's voice. The nude fawn is a CGI constructed, skinned, and dead female fawn, temporarily brought back to life. The nude fawn speaks with a young girl's voice. The romaine man is an animated head of romaine lettuce with an apple in his hollowed heart. He's got googly eyes and he's wearing a Stetson hat. Mrs. Shark Attack is a CGI constructed jar of peanut butter with a red lid, speaks with a woman's deep southern drawl, has a hand-drawn smile and shark on top of the label marked all organic peanut butter, unsalted. That's Mrs. Shark Attack. Jesus is a CGI constructed bronze statue with a shiny, long, golden wig and sculpted robes that is temporarily brought to life. He speaks with a resonating yet light-hearted male voice. Next up is the crow, an animated crow wearing a diamond crown on her head. She speaks with the voice of Diamond Way. So this is the spirit of Diamond Way after she dies. She comes back as a crow. So the crow speaks with Diamond Way's voice. Mr. Hearst is a CGI male. He's 7 feet tall. He's got very broad shoulders, bloodshot eye whites, deathly pale, square-cut receding purple hair, glowing green eyes, purple lipstick, a purple suit, a yellow tie, small curled ram horns, and hooves for his feet. He's been skipping leg day for the last millennia. The crystal rose is a glowing crystal rose, speaks with a divinely feminine voice. Crows are blackbirds that fly around and go caw, and who also speak to Vellaseff. They've got throaty, raspy, and genderless voices. The osprey offspring, there's multiple. They're young osprey fledglings, high-pitched, whistling voices. And they're also either CGI or we can get some real-life osprey offspring, but I heard they're highly dangerous, so I don't know about that. Ravens are bigger blackbirds that know everything, and they don't have any lines. These are just birds that we animated. And then 12 great pink elephants playing musical instruments, and they don't have any lines either. They just play musical instruments. That's all the characters, guys. That's it. I just went through all the live-action, animated, and extras for this movie. So those are all the characters of Ego Death. And now I just want to go over the producers and directors that I can envision working on this project. Tim Burton would be perfect. Guillermo del Toro, another amazing one. Dan Aykroyd, Wes Anderson, Quentin Tarantino, Sam Raimi, Steven Sears, and I've got a great remote position for David Lynch, as I know he can't leave his living room now, but he would definitely love to work on this. I know he would. Melissa Sargent, of course. Thank you again for this opportunity. And I would really love to work on this project too as a director. Because it's my vision. I need to tell you guys what I envision. I could also imagine myself working as a director on this project too. Just saying. I would recommend myself. I'd also, the bands/musicians that I'd like to work with on this would be Danny Elfman. He's a film composer, one of my favorites. Any Pink Floyd members, or just people who know a lot about Pink Floyd. There's a lot of cover bands out there that just know like everything that Pink Floyd ever did in musical composition. And since this whole movie was kind of inspired by The Wall by Pink Floyd, the musical, it's got elements that I definitely just like, I picture it when I think of the music. It's just got this very Pink Floyd type of vibe. I would really love to work with anybody who knows the techniques that Pink Floyd used actually to create hugely influential music. May you forever rest in peace, Syd Barrett. Dire Straits, I would also love to work with Mark Knopfler. The Voids and Julian Casablancas, because they've got this really cool modern psychedelic beat. I would love to work with any of those bands. I don't know if I have a whole lot else to say on this note, but I just want to thank you all for sticking around and watching this video. I'm going to be doing a reading of the entire script coming really soon. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. I've been hyping it up a lot, and so we're going to be reading the whole 150-page script. Not 150 pages, slightly less. But yeah, it's a long script, and I just can't wait to share it with you. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching me talk about the cast and crew of Ego Death. If you'd like to audition for Ego Death, I would love you to, even if you don't fit the roles, or you don't look like the characters, or you don't think you're good enough. I don't care. I would still highly encourage you, anyone, to come out and try out for these roles, because I say, I have all these specific things for each character, but at the end of the day, I just need someone to play it who I can, after meeting them and seeing their acting capabilities, I can be like, yeah, you'll be good for this role. So, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment in the comments section. You can also reach me at email I'll put it in the description. Please check us out on social media at Ego Death Trailer. You can also find me at Rollin' Crows on Instagram. I'd really love to have you there. Join our little community, and thank you so much again for watching. Peace out, everybody! Tune into the Crow Show, too.